Hey there and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about fuel economy of the Alphard. Now let's be straight up front with this, but this is the 2-ton plus vehicle and it's a heavily built substantial vehicle which has a lot of metal in it, and that's going to keep you and your family safe. But we're still going to look at fuel economy because there's a lot of it's a big thing now that the petrol's up to £1.30, the highest it's ever been as far as I remember. So let's talk about that. So what can we expect from these engines? Well, the Alphard Series 1 comes in two engine types, which is a 2.4 litre 4-cylinder and a 3 litre V6. Now these are mated, the original ones 2003 onwards up to I think about 2007 are mated to a 4-speed gearbox, and facelift versions of this come with the same engine but mated to a 5-speed gearbox. One of my big concerns is how good would this gearbox be? Would it be as agricultural as a Land Rover Discovery early ones, or would it be very, very refined, just like a regular car? And the answer to that, the 4-speed is very refined, the 5-speed is very refined. You will not be disappointed. Now, looking at this Qashqai 1.6, now this has got 7 seats as well, but the last 2 seats are really tiny seats. They're not great. But they're there for short journeys. You know, put an adult on them, they'll hate it. This thing here has got 8 seats. It also comes in a 7-seater version as well. Adults in the back, you know, you can easily take them. No big problem. But as I said, 2 tons of vehicle. So what are we expecting? We're expecting about 26 miles per gallon around town. I would hesitate to say more, probably around 23 miles per gallon. Whereas in this around town we'll get about 28 miles per gallon. This Qashqai 1.6 litre petrol will get about maybe 38 miles per gallon when it's on a motorway. This thing over here will do about maybe 32 miles per gallon, so there's not a big difference between it. You're talking about 4 miles per gallon, so over 10,000 mile annual mileage, then you may be only looking at about £150 difference between the two vehicles. That's a lot, not a lot. Bearing in mind the Qashqai is a much slower vehicle and 1.6 litre engine. So this one's fitted with an LPG as well, and this one we're going to be talking about the LPG system. So it's very similar to filling your car with petrol. The petrol cap there. Sometimes the LPG entrance is over here somewhere on the other side, and the fuel fills into the tank underneath. And this particular vehicle, there's my fuel cap there. I just turn it over, the LPG gun just fits onto there. You twist it around, pull the trigger, and you just sit with the button and press it, and it will just load it up. So that's nothing to worry about. It's just like when you filled your first petrol tank at your car. Very, very similar. So where is the fuel tank? Well, the fuel tank sits under here. Now it has to have a decent amount of ground clearance. You have to be sure of that. And how does it get that? Well, there used to be a spare tire in this section here where this fuel tank is here. Okay, so the old spare tire comes out and you put your fuel tank in there. So how important to have a spare tire? Well, nowadays, you know, spare tires used to be a big thing. We used to all repair our own cars, but nowadays if you pull up on a service station or on a motorway and you've got a burst tire, phone the AA, get them around. They'll be using a much better jack than that little bottle jack that you have in the car. It's going to be a lot safer for everybody. Just to step aside, let somebody else do all the work. So that's the fuel tank there. How big is it? It's a 75 litre tank or a 70 litre tank, I believe here, which ironically will only hold about 50 litres of LPG. So where can you pick up the LPG? Well, if you're in England, there'll be a lot more places where you can get LPG than in Scotland. However, when you do get it, you'll find the prices are at 57 pence per litre in Scotland to 78 pence per litre. In England, you might get it as low down as 45 pence per litre, and you know, you can go up to 75 pence per litre, but it's still considerably less than petrol prices, which are £1.30 per litre. Is it an equal value? Does 1 litre of petrol equate to the same mileage as 1 litre of of auto gas or LPG or whatever you're going to call it? And the answer is no. So you're going to get a little bit, about 20% less mileage with LPG than you will with, let me just move out from here, than you will with petrols. That's a budget for 20% less. But you remember, 57p plus 20% is still a lot less than paying £1.30 for fuel. Will you notice a difference in speed, etc.? Well, you get more power with LPG, so it's a much more explosive power can be developed from petrol, should I say, not LPG. But you will not get, you'll get more power with petrol rather than LPG, as I just mentioned. Sorry, I cut the tape there. However, I'm just going to open up the engine. I'm going to show you this. However, you will not notice it. If you've got a 3 litre V6, you will not notice it. You're not going to ever need that additional power. And if you do, just reset, just switch into petrol. But you're just not going to need this. I'm just opening up the engine so you can have a look. And I've removed the cover here. And let's look at the engine. So over here, this is the Romano system, which I believe is Italian. So you can see all the little injectors here, which just tap into the fuel area, and they'll pump out the LPG as required, and they're very, very efficient. You'll hear a little gentle tick-tick noise. Over here, I have a little lubricant. So this little oil drops in here, and it goes in through this vacuum pipe and drops into the valve heads. Now, does it make a difference? Well, I'm not too sure. This thing, you can either put it in or not, but these vehicles' heads will be very, very hard, and so not going to be eaten up by the heat as per se. So you can put it in there. If you feel more comfortable feeding with oil, just cool things down, then that's great. But I don't think it's a big essential thing to actually do. So we're going to now go into the inside of the car and look at your control system for LPG. So here we go. So here's the little LPG button, which is your control system here, which is you're going to look at when you're driving. So I'm just going to switch the engine on. Now when it's on, one second, let me just start the engine. So now you saw that little flick of the orange lights there, just briefly. Now this got the engine's hot, but that little flick of the orange lights indicates it's running on petrol. So an LPG requires heat to vaporize that gas. So when you start the car, it will run on petrol for a little bit of time. Now that petrol will show up as LPG. If you want to switch onto petrol, there you go. You press the R button in the center in this particular case, and that's onto petrol. And if you want to run it on gas, there you go. But you'll notice the engine noise doesn't change. It's seamless. So the change between that and that's the flashing sign when it's running on petrol and it's going to switch onto LPG. Okay, so petrol, switching onto LPG, and once it gets hot enough, then it's able to vaporize that gas just nicely. Okay, so that's how you switch. As simple as that. Okay, if you find yourself running short of LPG, then this thing will beep and it'll let you know. So you're not going to get stuck without LPG, and you just switch to the petrol. So you've still got your petrol gauge there, and it's still taking in petrol, and it's as simple as that. So how long does it take for it to switch over? In cold weather, it can take up to 2 minutes or so. In hot weather, the engine's run, it will just immediately start on LPG. Okay, so we're going to go back onto the front of the vehicle again, and I'm going to show you where the LPG control unit is. So in this particular case, the LPG control unit is over here. It has the port where it can communicate with the computer to see how the settings are all done, etc. And that can be done every year, just an annual service. Just make sure it's running nice and efficiently. The other thing to note is that that LPG tank with 50 litres gets me about 233 miles on the tank. That's a lot of miles. Again, that tank will cost about £26 to fill up, considerably less than petrol. So I'm getting a very, very good saving. How many miles do you have to do it? Well, do you know what? The one good thing is that you can run on petrol, you can run on LPG, And what I find is that I just fitted it 4 years ago, and that has actually not become a consideration because this car is something you will keep. If you're going to fit the LPG into your car, make sure you're happy with the basic engine, make sure it's working for you, make sure there's no oil leaks that are going to cause you to sell the car or be disappointed. And then after you've driven it for about, maybe 2-3 months, and you're very happy with it, get the LPG fitted, but get it fitted by your dealer because it keeps your warranty. And this is why some places like New Acres, they will fit these as standard just straight away when you get your car, and they're ready to go. But that will mean that it's in the warranty, and they'll support you as well. There's other places that also do this as well, which will sell the Alphard and fit the LPGs. But the most important thing is making sure you get support after you've bought your vehicle. Okay, so I've mentioned that as well, and also in another video I've mentioned about the PCV valve as well, because that's very important to make sure that that is working. Now with these V6 models, also you want to get decent spark plugs on them. So the iridium spark plugs are very tough, so you may want to use those. Use these iridium spark plugs well. They're very good. They last a long time, and also in the V6 it's hard to get to 3 of the spark plugs, which are right at the back, and a lot of work. But on this particular model you can see that there's 3 spark plugs here. And that might be a consideration if you're thinking of going on the LPG with these with 2.4 litre, you'll be able to get access to the spark plugs very easily. I really hope this has helped you make your mind up, and maybe just throwing some light on LPG versus petrol, and just have a wee think about it. Don't be rushed into it, but one thing is, don't go cheap in your LPG system because you'll regret it later on. Get a decent system put in, get a decent fitter to actually put in. And as I said, if you can get it with your dealer doing it at the same time, go with the dealer, because they will support you, hopefully. Take care, and remember, do subscribe to this channel. There'll be a lot more videos coming up. Ultimately, we're going to talk about cost of actually doing all this. So for a 2.4 litre, you're looking at about £1,200, and for the 3 litre, you're looking at about £1,400 to £1,600. Again, just try and make sure you go through a reputable dealer who's worked on these vehicles. I'm quite sure you'll find one quite easily, but make sure it's not going to invalidate your warranty on your deal from the dealer that you bought the vehicle from. So that's why I suggest buying from the same person, getting fitted from the same person. At least you've got some degree of comeback if it messes up. So it's really important to decide from the onset where you're going to buy the vehicle, and speak to your dealer about whether you're going to convert to an LPG. And if you're comfortable with your dealer, convert it from day one like I did, and just get the benefits of the cheaper fuel straight away. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's thrown some light on the LPG versus petrol situation, and the real cost of running these vehicles. And as I said, when I fuel up with petrol, I'm £25, and that's going to last me about 3 weeks, 233 miles lasting 3 weeks. I don't think of it that much, and I'm not dealing with the fluctuations of petrol prices as well. So it gives me variations of fuel. As I said, please subscribe to the channel if you like the stuff. There's a lot more videos, and just have a look, have fun. Bye.